like, you're too noisy. I said, you don't have to be around me.
Friendship may actually go beyond just relating on
a superficial
basis.
There's the adage that says, show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are.
There are some of us who are not very good at regular visit, but because they are friends,
you have to,
in order to maintain that friendship.
The emotional state of the parents is usually directly proportional to the emotional state of the children.
Hello viewers, welcome again to our favorite family show, The Living Room, right here at Equa TV. Thank you so much for tuning in again today to listen to this program. Many of us have had many issues in our lives, and one of the issues we seem to have is how to balance our lives. We seem to tilt to one side, too much work, too much this, too much that, and as some people say, our head scatters. And then we become even worse at what we do. So today we decided to talk about work-life balance. Work-life balance. And I'm sure at the end of this program, you should be able to have less scattered head and more focus in what we do. My name is Amaka Ocheke, and in the studio with me today to discuss this very important issue are people who are well-versed in this topic. And we have Professor Teresa Madu, who had mentioned before, is an expert on this. She's even done her inaugural lecture and published papers on how we work.
And
ought to work. So she knows about balance. And then Mrs. Ibi Namo, you know she's an expert on life things. So she right now has a lot of issues on her head. Plenty work she has to sort out. And she's trying to apply work-life balance. We were discussing that before we just started. So she's going to tell us how she's coping so that you too can get one or two things on how to cope. So, Auntie, let's start with you. What is work-life balance? What's it all about?
So I started by saying that work-life balance is actually an human resource management concept. In the human resource management, we're interested about how people come to work, use the ideas and skills that God has blessed them with, and help an organization turn things around. You can't do things without people. But people need a work-life balance. People don't have just skills and talents. They are human. They belong to families, they belong to communities, they are children of God. So you have all these very different segments of life that you must actively participate. And why do we say work-life balance? I remember that God in Genesis, God has the ability to snap everything into creation in one day. But God took things balance and balance. Day 1, we do this. Day 2, he does this. Day 3, he did this. And on the 7th day, and God rested. I think our viewers may agree that some of them think that the word rest is very foreign. That maybe if they create time to rest, it's almost loafing. And people who talk like that, we can immediately tell that they do not have a work-life balance. In the end, you are not good for the work, and you're not good for yourself, you're not good for anything.
You're not helping. And probably, most likely, you will not even be able to do the work very well as time goes on.
And sometimes you find that people become very irritable, not just irritable, and then they develop mental health issues.
Challenges.
Even physical imbalances like obesity and what have you.
And then, since you're also not attending to your family, you could also begin to have
family
issues. Yes. So we must make time
to establish a balance.
Yes, between things, and even have time to review what you have even done before you move on to the next step. Because as God created, he had time to look at it and say it was good. So God was doing review.
You know, I like what you said about review. Ideally, in goal setting and working towards goal, we should have time, maybe weekly, monthly, where we evaluate. Why have we succeeded? Why have we failed? What could we do differently? But I think more importantly, the fact that we're being accountable to God is also being ready that at any one time God calls us home, we're able to give a good accounting of all the various spheres that we were supposed to establish a balance in.
Okay. Thank you, Auntie Ivy.
I usually make this comment that if God rested and the world did not fold, if you rest, nothing is going to happen. But if you die walking, you are not likely to get 1 minute silence. Most times it's 30 seconds or 20 seconds, and then may the souls of the faithful departed rest in peace, and the next person is sitting on your chair.
Exactly.
And the work continues.
Yes, the organization won't close.
Yeah,
and
because
everybody in the organization will come for your funeral.
Exactly.
They will representatives.
Exactly. So that's why we need to have a balance. You need to look at the various spheres of your life. You have a family, you have your work, you have your spirituality. You need to create time for leisure, and then you need to create time to sleep. You know, I know that the body clock, from what I did in sleep disorder, when I was working on sleep disorder, the body clock is wakes up in the morning and shuts down at night. That's how God made it. But somehow humans have been able to alter the body clocks. That's why we have different sleep attitude and different sleep patterns. You see, some people sleep in the morning, some people sleep at night, some people sleep in the afternoon. But the ideal is that you wake up in the morning and do your work, do your whatever you do, and you sleep at night. You know, but people have, you know, said they just, what I need is just 1 hour sleep.
No,
I don't think what that is right.
It's not even think. It's not.
So you need to create time to consciously sleep, create time to sleep. You know, when I say it at first, my husband didn't agree with me. He was saying, see, if you sleep, things will spoil. But when he started having some health challenges and he went to the doctor said, Oga, you have to sleep. Then he knew that sleep was important, because then when I was working on sleep, I was telling him, I said, sleep, you can get all kinds, some types of diseases from lack of sleep. He didn't agree with me, but it started happening. You know, a lot of people I've talked to like that, they will, at first they will say, it's lazy people that don't sleep all the time. I say, see, God has made 24 hours. You cannot have more than 24 hours. And within these 24 hours, he needs you, just like he created one day this, one day that. And I don't think that one day he created from morning till night. He created at a particular time. It was good that he reviewed and he rested for that day. Finally, on the 7th day, it was like he took a leave, not just rest. Because after every day's job, he rested. Then on the 7th day, he actually took a rest.
The whole day, he didn't do anything.
The whole day, nothing was done. So we need to consciously build ourselves like that. See, you can't make all the money by just doing all the work. There are some persons who have been able to have this work-life balance, and they are making more money. Like this man, Rick Warren. No, Rick Warren will say that it is not plenty work that gets you exhausted. It is doing useless work. Sometimes you spend all your time and you work and you can't even know what you are working for, or what you can't find what you have done. You can't even find what you have. So you need to strike a balance.
But from what Ivy is saying, it leads to a greater neglect that we already have. You know, I think people think that if we sit down and plan our day, we are oyibo. Yes. But without planning our day, then you don't even know what has suffered.
Yeah.
So
and then you need to be able to prioritize. This word always heavy in my mouth, but you know what I'm saying. So that you can plan well.
So there can be a few emergencies, but generally, we have an idea of what we should do. Let me tell you, if you do not put your quiet time on a plan, it will suffer. Yeah. If you do not put your husband on a schedule, and say, I'm going to have dinner with my husband alone somewhere, it will suffer. If you do not plan and say, I'm going to have time with this child alone for this, and we make time for what is important. So there's a concept I learned from the navigators many years ago that has helped me. And we call it, it's a phenomenon, it's called the tyranny of the urgent.
Okay, I think I've heard that.
The urgent is always pushing. Do me, do me. It's not necessarily important. But why does the urgent push us? Because we have forgotten to put the important on a schedule. So those who journal will find this helpful. If you journal, part of your prayer request is, tomorrow I have an appointment with Amaka. Like, you know that I'm here because I planned to be here. So you put Equa Television on your schedule, and you know that you must leave home at 3:15 to be here for 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. So without putting a schedule, some things come and just divert us. And you know, we're in a community, we're in an era now where there's so much grief and sorrow. These things just, you didn't plan to go to somebody's house who has lost somebody, but then it happens. And people, I hear people say, life happens. For those of us who have grown children, do you know that you have to put them on schedule to have communication time with them? Nothing just happens. You plan it. And I like the way Jesus took time to withdraw and go to the mountainside and pray. I think he was also receiving instructions and telling God, oh, I plan to go by the Samaria, I plan to go to Judea this way. And God said, no, can you go through Samaria? So you see, he's going to Samaria and meeting the lady by the well. It was not an accident. It was on schedule. And this, let me use the big word, this kind of thing fits into the kingdom agenda that God has for us, that we shall bring his kingdom on earth and his will be done here as it is in heaven. But if we look frizzled, hassled, running helter-skelter, we're not a good example to the world at all about how the kingdom of God can be established.
So what we've come with so far is, first of all, you're not indispensable. So thinking you're indispensable, I think, is a form of pride. So get rid of it. Without you, the world goes on. The sun will rise, it will set, life will just go on.
Yes.
Yes, that's one. Two, we need to plan. We need to plan. Things don't just happen. We need to plan if we want to have things done well, on time, and properly. Because we're aiming to honor God in all we do. So we need to plan and do things well. So now, we've already started on that, but let's now get down to application. What do we do to have a proper work balance? Practically, how do we approach it?
Number one, what is my purpose? What's my purpose? What's my ministry? What's my calling? What has God placed me here to do? You know that is primary reason number one. And that purpose has has subsets.
Yeah.
Like sometimes when I say, okay, I'm a child of God. God gave birth to me to represent him here and to bring him glory in everything I do. Number one, I'm a worker. Oh, no, that's not correct. Number one, I'm a daughter. I'm his daughter. 2, I'm a wife. 3, I'm a mother and grandmother. 4, I'm a worker in the church with various segments in the church. I'm a community person. He has placed him in my environment. Remember, even when we talk about family, even the extended family is also part of where God. So can you see that these are different segments that fit into your life? So you can see that we have already mentioned the spiritual, we've mentioned the work contribution, we've mentioned the emotional, which is family. We've also mentioned community, which is outreach. But let me not forget the one that we're most guilty of, our physical being. You know, when we are not, and then work-life balance leads to our not being very well. And when we're not well, we're not a good vehicle for God. A lot of people have shoved physical well-being. And Amaka will talk to that. They don't do annual checkups, so they don't know how they are.
Because of the so-called urgent.
They are so busy.
So-called urgent.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
They are not doing well physically. They are not eating well. They are not living a balanced life. So not living a balanced life in other areas always affects the most important sphere. So can you see we should start with purpose? Do I know why I'm here? I'm not just existing. I'm living for a purpose. Am I moving towards that purpose? Is it ingrained in my to-do list? Is it there?
okay, we are coming back to this purpose matter.
Okay, knowing your purpose also drives you to know, okay, you have a direction. Your purpose is like a direction. How do I get there? These are the things that you need to do. Like she mentioned, the work, the family. Now, how do I take time? What time do I give to work? What time do I give to family? You know, some people work so much that they don't eat, like we say. You know, somebody works from morning to evening and forgets that he has eaten. It's not
That he has not eaten.
That he has not eaten. It doesn't make sense. You need to find time to say, it is
People
break
say they
time.
don't like food.
It is break time. I need to go and eat. Whether you carry the food to work or you go out and get the food and eat, just make sure you create time for food. You create time for, okay, from home, you have a day's schedule from home. You have your devotion in the morning. If you are a young mother, you know you have children to prepare for school. If you are a young working mother, you also know that after preparing these children, you have to either drop them or you have somebody who helps you to take them. Then you are going to work. In your workplace, you have a schedule, you know. What am I going to do at work today? What goals? What am I going to achieve at work today? Not just that you wake up and you get to the office, then they say, oh yeah, let's go and see. That's why people go to the office to chit-chat. Somebody will go to the office from morning to evening and he cannot tell you what he has done. He went there, he sat down.
I remember somewhere I worked with also buy granola.
And sit down and be eating.
I roasted fish, I will sit down and be
eating because you're not doing
while
anything.
some others are knitting.
Can you
see?
imagine? So
Because
they don't know purpose.
They don't know because that's not what
Then
you
I
were.
didn't know, so I'm just confessing. I'm just confessing.
You know, you go to your office and you are sitting outside your office and you are eating and chatting, and at the end of the day, you just, once it's 1 o'clock, you just it's 1 I'm going home. The day is gone. You just pack your things and go home. What kind of work is that?
The other thing that I also think our workplaces have not intentionally factored is a break time. Because there's no break time, people do not know when they should take their lunch break. Somebody is taking lunch break at 11.
Have official,
that's most offices
but people don't take.
They don't. People don't take
It's blood.
It. Yes.
Yeah.
It's
people
blood.
Don't take
It's
it.
blood. I went to University of Makerere. This was 2017. I was amazed. They do like terminus market. Once it is 12 noon, everybody is on break. That 1 hour of break, if you have school runs, you can go and do it. You are eating your lunch. It is your time to refresh before you go back at 1 and work till 4. I've struggled for the public sector. I still stand to be corrected. In the public sector that I have worked, I haven't seen a dedicated break time. Private sector sometimes try to have a dedicated break time, but for the public sector, it's just fluid.
Everybody just takes the break.
It's just fluid. You understand? Even annual leaves. Even annual leaves. Elsewhere, it is planned. We know who is going on leave in February, who is going on leave in March, who is going on leave. People plan ahead so that they know that at this time I will be on leave. Which is why with Oyibos, you know, if you send a mail, when that person is on leave, you get an automated reply that says, sorry, I'm on leave. You can contact this person in my absence.
Or I'll respond on so and so date
when
I'm back.
Even though our organizations fail, we can structure our lives in such a way that we introduce the balance and we guard those
Except for
those things.
emergencies, yeah.
Okay. So, you said I should speak to it. So I'm going to speak to the issue of taking care of our bodies.
Yes.
Your cars need to go for checkup
Mm-hmm.
to function properly. You don't allow your car with one engine noise or the other to go on. When there's need to refuel your car, you refuel it. You don't decide, I'll just drive this car, even though I know there's no fuel, we'll just manage. You know that the car will stop on the way. So in the same way, this body, we need to take good care of it. And that includes, as Mrs. Namo says, feeding it well. So you need to eat appropriately. Well, we'll have to talk about that sometime. We need to eat well and balanced diet as well. I know things are hard, but we can work around this.
The balanced things are not
Balanced
as
diets are
expensive.
actually not
They are
that
the cheaper
expensive.
part.
So we can
Yes.
work around that, to eat well, to eat healthy, and eat at the right time. That's
Yes,
very important.
yes.
Then we need to rest, as she says. As adults, we need at least 6 to 8 hours of sleep every day. You
I'm
can't do,
working on reducing it to 6.
well, 8
Why
hours
do you
is
want
good.
to
I
reduce it
kind
to
of think I oversleep.
It's good.
No, it's good for
If you can oversleep, please do so. 8 hours of sleep is fine. That's what you need. Well, we can manage 6, but not less than 6 for any adult, or else you are going to fall ill sooner or later.
Yeah.
Then people have talked about exercise. We need to find a way to exercise. If it works, I guess, as people get older, maybe you may not be able to do some of the very rigorous
Strenuous
things.
ones, yeah.
But at least walks, you can do walks. And walks is not strolling, no. If you are doing exercise for walking, you must walk a brisk walk. Walk. If you see Mama Emeka on the way, don't stop to start asking her about her chickens and her goats. Just, Mama Emeka, good morning, ma. And you keep walking. You don't stop.
If I
Later,
where I work in my community, this is how we greet.
okay.
Just continue.
So
Just do like
do
this.
namaste.
Continue.
Shey, that's what Indians do. And continue. You don't stop to start asking about the chickens and the goats and all that. No. Just keep walking. And then she had also mentioned the issue of leisure. We must have hobbies. There are things we do, whether we read books, we do exercises, we play tennis or something. We need to do something
Yeah,
to help
create
us
time for
relax.
leisure.
Because if you don't do all those things,
Conscious.
this machine, this body machine is going to break down. And then even the mental capacity is also going to break down. And you'll not be able to function the way you should maximally, to do all that God has called you to do. So,
And one day we shall give account.
we shall give account of how we
give
also
account.
took care of our
Yeah,
bodies.
how we took care of our
Because some of us think that the account we're going to give is only how well you prayed, how many
and
hours
how
you
many
prayed,
hours you pray,
how many hours you
sacrifices
fasted.
you know.
So we're going to give account of everything God has given us to take care of. So we need to take care of our bodies too. So back, I think I've addressed that. Did I
Okay.
leave out anything?
No. Thank you for that.
Okay. Other things we need to do.
I even think that we should look at our work-life balance as a circle. This is my spirituality, like IB said. This is family. This is church. This is work. This is well-being. And even finance. I remember. Finance is part of that wheel. Because sometimes when we're imbalanced financially, it also affects it affects family, it affects work, and it leads to unethical behavior. So you have to have a balance even financially. With all of these spheres of life, like Amaka said earlier, are we sitting from time to time and evaluating? Just reviewing. Where am I at? What am I doing? I hear people set financial goals. Yeah, good. And I would like to discern from God what God wants done before I now tie financial goals into that. Like your goal for giving can be increasing. Maybe every 2 years you are increasing how much you are giving to God's work in particular areas. So can you see that first of all there's purpose before you are applying this financial something? We're getting to November, December. You know, okay, we're in December actually. We're in December actually. And there's so much urgent things, but they are not important. They are not important. Okay,
I just
Ivy.
want to say a little about the sleep, the
Mhm.
sleep thing. I know that, like I said, we have altered the sleep pattern. It's supposed to be morning till evening. If you watch body cycle, once it is 7 o'clock, your body naturally slows down. It's natural. That's how God made it. So as you get into 8, 9, 10, the body wants to shut down. Not die, but wants to go and rest. But sometimes we stretch it to 11, we stretch it to 12, we stretch it to 1. It's not right. Please, let's take time to once it's 10 o'clock, if you can sleep at 10, at least 11.
What if I have a deadline?
Yeah, but
That's why we should plan.
A deadline is not even every day.
Yeah, it's
A deadline is once in a while. Like, I am reading for an exam. Okay, I have to alter my sleep for now. Let me just read for the exam. But when the exams are over, what are you still altering? If you have a deadline of a job, after submitting the job, then what? You know, but some people, it is a normal way of life. They just cannot sleep until it is 1. They have so conditioned their life, their body, to the point that the body does not even want to shut down itself at 12:1. So some people will have to take drugs to sleep. You know, some people will have to look for something to drink before they can sleep. But if you follow the natural way God made the body, once it's 8 o'clock, your body starts going down. And I think, like we're saying, food, when do you eat? One of my brothers used to say that his dinner is from 10 o'clock. I said, that's dangerous dinner. It's not healthy for you. How can you be eating at 10? That is when he comes back from his shop. I said, if you come back, eat at the shop now. If you know that when you come back home, that's it's already late, then eat at the shop. So that when you come back home, you're just coming to take a shower and sleep. Not come back and start cooking. You come back by 9, 9:30. That's when you start cooking. Then by 10, 11, sometimes 12, you are still eating. Nice market, you know. So these are some of the things we should take into consideration in finding a balance.
But for those who decide that they must go to bed by 1, that means you should not wake up till 9. No? You should not wake up till 9 in the morning.
Even if you wake up that 9, you have still altered your body already.
Yeah.
You have altered it. You have altered your body function. That's why you see some people in the morning, they are looking like zombies. They are waking up in the morning, but they are not awake.
But there are also some people who don't do well in the mornings. They just don't do well.
You know, so
Because
they are
of
not
the
at their
way they
best.
have altered
No.
their
Some
body.
people are just not their best.
like when you were talking about the clocks, I didn't know quite how to intervene, because I think even from childhood, you notice that there are children that go to bed early and wake up early.
Yeah.
But there are also those that want to sleep an hour or 2 extra, because they are just no morning
There are some
people.
people that are not morning people.
So when you talked about the clock, but let me come back to a more important thing. Employers.
Okay, until this employer thing, we'll pause it. We'll go on break. When we come back, we'll pause you and talk about what employers need to do. So viewers, we're going on break and we'll be back with you right after the break talking about work-life balance. Don't touch that dial. Welcome back, viewers, from our break. We've been here talking work-life balance. And during the break, we were still talking about work-life balance here at the studio. And, well, you saw how the break went. So we're back here with Professor Teresa Madu and Mrs. Ibe Namo talking about work-life balance. And one of the things we've raised so far is the fact that you're not indispensable. Life goes on with or without you. So to be there and to do the best you can, please take care of yourself and have good balance. And plan. One of the things we've raised is that you need plan to be able to achieve what you need to achieve. And to make a good plan, you need to be clear about what your purpose is in life. So, Mrs. Madu was about to say something about employers, and we paused her before we went on break. So,
maybe
we pressed the button. We have unpaused you. So,
employers, bosses, supervisors, managers. You know, if they find somebody that delivers, they over-rely on that person.
They say the reward for good work is more work.
No, but sometimes by overburdening one individual, you are intentionally aiding he or she not being able to establish a balance. And they are afraid of telling you no. But by the same token, some people are loafing.
Yeah.
Some people are not being developed. And you know that God looks at us with our various giftings and helps us achieve potential, not because we're the best. But we shouldn't have an unhealthy situation where if Mr. X is not around, nothing will happen. So I said employers, managers, bosses, supervisors, encourage people to take the time to rest. Like, I don't think it's being productive when you know that a staff is obviously not well, but they are keeping at their job, they are not being their best, and Lord have mercy, they are also spraying the infections around. Maybe common cold, like they say. If you don't take the time to rest, common cold doesn't go away, and then it affects other people. So not only is productivity of one person reduced, general productivity of a unit is also suffering. So I'm saying that employers too, sometimes we do that too. And
then the problem too I see sometimes arises when there are people who have to be around if Oga is in the office. And if Oga has a bad work-life balance, Oga stays in the office till 7. That means there are some staff, or 9. That means there are some staff who cannot leave that office until he leaves. And so you are causing trouble for other people. You are causing for yourself, and then you're also getting more people to have the kind of troubles you're having.
And then it may even be a result of bad management, because like I think we don't manage time well at meetings.
You know, I be saying that the worst part of this thing is wasting time doing nothing. Wasting time doing nothing.
So it's just motion without movement. You're just going around and going around and going around. Sometimes people can't even tell the telltale signs that their life is lopsided. Honest, I confess I take work home, but the kind of work I take home, I also try to be sure that it is directly, maybe like I'm going to have a class at 7 a.m. Okay. I don't have a choice. Somewhere when I've woken up and I've reviewed everything, between that 6 to 7, I will need to look at it. Yeah, it's not part of work, but I've had to do that just before the class. For 7. So we're not saying maybe you can't stagger work, but we're saying that look, if you take work home, most certainly something is given, something is suffering.
Okay, maybe I will start with you now. Now let's look at work specifically. How can we be more effective at work so that we give work the time it needs, but within that period we achieve what we need to achieve so that we can give time to other things? And I think one of the issues Auntie has already raised is meetings. Well, very important. People waste time at meetings talking nonsense. Sorry, I'm using that word, but sometimes you're at a meeting and like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here?
Some meetings don't just make sense. You see a meeting where somebody has said something, another person will say exactly the same thing but use the different language. And even when the person who is leading the meeting is saying please don't repeat what another person
They will
has
still
said.
say it. Some
They will
people
still
like
say,
the sound of
excuse
their
me,
voice.
I want to say something. And when he or she stands up, he or she is saying exactly what the other person has said, but he has
Even
used a
sometimes some
different
people say, the
language.
person before me had said
Said
what I
what
wanted
they
to say,
say.
but
But
you say it.
So-
Again, I'm like,
I think also, like, this has to do with planning and schedules, you know. Meetings have agenda. And when you are running a meeting, as the person leading the meeting, give agenda. There's nothing wrong in saying, wait, that thing you want to say, you are saying now, somebody has said it, please, can you stop? Any other matter? I don't think anything is wrong with that, so that we can have, you know, like my unit head will always say that we're going to have this meeting between 2 and 3. Whatever is going to happen, it has to stop by 3 because we have other things to do. You know, and she makes sure that, you know, there are people in our meeting who actually wants to talk. She will just say, I'm giving you 2 minutes. If you talk more than 2 minutes, I will stop you. And she will stop you, actually. And, you know, it makes the meeting, you know, the meeting is making sense because you know that things have been achieved. Okay, in the workplace, if you want to achieve, that's where planning comes in. What do you want to do for a day? I'm sure that every day you wake up in your house, you know, you have things, you know, I see lecturers put notice on their board. I see students Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Any student that come any other day, you are on your own, except there is an emergency. I will not see you. Because you have other things. You are not just employed to come and see students. You have other things on your table. So you write out, if possible, a small note and stick it to the front of your table and be working and ticking. Oh, I finished this, you move it. I finished this, you move it. Before you know it, you can even assign timing to it. And as you do that, you will see that you are covering and you are working faster.
so every day you need to have a plan.
Yes.
What you need to
A to-do
achieve.
Yeah.
list.
And then a to-do list. And then a realistic to-do
To
list.
list, yes.
And then assign time to it. And when it's time, it's time.
It's time, yeah.
We move on to other things.
Yeah.
And then the issue of meetings, those who head meetings, who chair meetings, I think we need to be more deliberate
Yeah.
in controlling how your meeting goes. And maybe before time, talk to your staff that, look, this is how we now want to do meetings. Because when meetings are short and straight to the point, people would attend.
Yes.
But when
They'll
people
come
know
back
that,
again.
then they'll come back again. But once they know that you waste time, they will be late for meetings. They will
Yeah, meeting is
find
11,
ways
people
to
will come
avoid.
by 12:30
Exactly.
because they know
because
that
I know
the
your meeting will last till 3.
Yeah.
So why would I come early? You know. So we need to be deliberate about that. I think a meeting 1 hour, 1 hour 30 minutes.
What are we
Max,
What are we
everything
As
is
you
so
talked about
serious.
that, I remember
2
that,
What
hours.
are we discussing?
you know, some people are late to work, so they are
Yeah.
late to start.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Or they justify it. They say, I came late, so let me stay extra hours. Let's do
go
work
early.
when work should be done.
if it's 8 o'clock, let it be 8 o'clock. You know, if it is, you know, there was a place where I worked. I was used to going to work very early. And, you know, when I got a job in that place, they said 8 o'clock. So before 8, I'm already there. And I see that even the cleaners are not around by 8. So I'm like, okay, what's happening here? So I will now sit in my car and be waiting. You see that our work for that day will be delayed. The person that has the key to the office is not around. And then around 8:39, you see people strolling in and say, somebody will say, I woke up this morning, my child was sick. I woke up this morning, something. Everybody is giving excuses. So one day at a meeting, I said, is it like some of us, our children don't get sick? Or like some of us, we don't feel like going to the toilet early in the morning when we wake up? But we planned this thing, and that's why we're able to make it to come. That thing didn't change till I left that place. But I think it's a very bad attitude to work. If you must come late to work, it should be genuine. Somebody once told me that a friend of hers, a colleague of hers, went to the market in the morning. And when the Oga came to the office, he asked of her. So she said she went to the market. So when she now returned, it was like, you use worker to go to the market, you know, so the Oga quarreled. So she came back and quarreled her colleague that, why did you tell Oga that I went to the market? Say, but you told me, you say you should have told Oga that my child is sick. Say, no, your child was not sick.
That's a lie.
That's a lie. I won't help you tell a lie. Say, but you know how we work here. Say, I don't know how you work here. I think people should tell the truth.
Okay, tell the truth. Come early.
early to work and have a plan for the
But
work.
could it also be that people don't know what the work they do contributes? Because if you know that the work you do
It's making a
makes a
difference.
difference, your attitude towards it will be different. I mean, she just came from surgery. She can't afford to do that.
I think some people also don't even have a work. I don't know. Maybe
Work ethic.
they don't even know what they are supposed to be doing in their office. There are some offices that people
No,
just want.
once you are given an employment letter,
The employment
job description is
letters,
there.
your job description is there, but it's like the office does not have the job description.
So we shouldn't pay you for doing nothing.
Exactly. I think so.
and I think we also, as Christians, we should also remember that you are being paid to do something. So you need to show up when you are asked to show up.
Exactly.
Do the work you are asked to do or you are supposed to do at that time, and then do it well, excellently. I think that's the call on every Christian. If you know you're not going to do that, then turn in your resignation and walk away.
So we look at the story of Daniel. Daniel was way, way down there. But by diligence, people started recognizing that, oh, he's diligent. He has an excellent spirit. Except you find something against his God, you won't find something wrong with him. But I think Daniel...
They found out that he was excellent
Uh-huh.
and he was not negligent.
Uh-huh.
I remember those two things.
Uh-huh.
So I had to even find out what is negligence. So he was excellent and he was not negligent.
But you can
So
see
he
that
did his
Daniel
work
had a
well.
planned life. He knew when to pray, he knew when to be at work,
Yeah.
and he knew when to take time to cry before God for his country.
And he moved. Because sometimes too, well, that's not what we're talking about, but sometimes when we're not progressing in the workplace, we will be looking for enemies and those that hate us in the office. But many times that is not the problem. The problem is that we're not doing work well.
Exactly.
We're just taking this work as, let's just go and be doing it. But if you understand purpose, you
Especially
understand that it's a
government
ministry.
work. Especially government will say it's not your father's work.
It's your, but
But
it's
you,
God's
but
work.
you applied for it.
But it's God's work. It's God's work. And as Christians, we must do it well. You must do it well. Okay, one more thing while we're still on.
We've not talked about family.
We are going to
Families
family.
are suffering
We are
at the
going to
expense
family.
of work.
I just want to ask one more thing, what you think about work. Some people have asked them, because I ask sometimes, how is work going and all that. They say nothing's happening in our office. So they go to work, nothing happening. So they just sit down. Some days they don't even go to work. And I've told a couple of people, I said, but you have an employment letter that states your duties in that office. If your boss has decided that he doesn't want to do the work, you come and do what you're supposed to do. If you sit down and you are diligent, God will give you wisdom on things you can do in that office. And they were looking at me like, I said, yes, so how can you say there's nothing
There's
to
nothing
do?
to
A whole Christian like you. So I don't know whether you can speak to that for our viewers who may be there saying, oh, my office, there's no work. I don't believe there's any office that there's no work. It's us that don't want to do work.
You have said it.
Yeah.
But also, it's that we don't see what is bad with what is bad.
Bad.
We've begun to think like the world that it is okay. It is not okay.
It's not okay.
In
It's
fact,
not okay.
there are many things that Christians can do in the workplace that can transform the workplaces into what everybody is saying, sustainable workplace. It is Christians saying that something is definitely wrong and I can do something about it. We can always do something about it. One of my colleagues took over a very, very demanding office. It's not an office I envy. But the very first thing I saw him do was he brought these box files and organized the various items. Because for the next 2 to 4 years, he was going to be working on it. But in that way that it was organized, it helped things to be retrieved. So you are in an office. Maybe something is not happening. Can you organize?
Yeah.
Can you make sure that work becomes easier or better because you are there? There's no situation where there will be nothing, absolutely nothing to do.
Okay, let's shift to family.
Family.
Yes. In this our work-life balance, family life.
Let me
do
talk
we
to
need to do?
Christians.
It's Christian. Okay.
On an average day, maybe they had devotion, if they had, with the family in the morning. Everybody has scrambled to work, to school. You have gone to work. Work is finishing 4. You are arriving 5. you head to church, you come back 6 or 7. At that time, everybody's trying to do dinner. The children are trying to do homework. There has been no connection. So can you see how families are suffering because we are not introducing balance?
Okay. So what can we do?
Can we make time? Like I practice something. I haven't perfected it, but I practice intentionally connecting with my spouse. We say, Siba, for the 15 minutes, let it be eyeball to eyeball. No television, no devices. Let's look eyeball to eyeball. Let's just connect. That way, you get into each person's world. You know what the concerns are. It's not only a devotion that we should hear what the prayer requests are. And I think this strengthens communication, but it also strengthens balance. And it also tells you how best you can pray for one another. Those who have younger children, this is a lot harder. Because not only do you want to supervise homework, but you want to also hear what did their day go like. What were the highs or lows? Is there something you should correct?
I think for me, with the children, when my children were younger, one of the things that helps, well, in the busyness, is I tried as much as possible to be the one to pick them, take them to school, pick them from school. Because I now found out that driving to and from school, you hear
so much.
a lot of things. Yes, you hear a lot of things. Then bath time was another time. I bath my children.
They talk to you when
So you hear a lot of things during bath time too.
You'll be amazed.
Yeah.
So put your ears out there.
Yeah. So don't leave everything for those helping you to do. Those who live with you to do. There's things I think we should be deliberate about to get involved with. So
and story time.
You can
Story
bond
time.
with your children.
You know, some people have said, I don't have a car. I said, even if you don't have a car, I didn't have a car for a while, you know, while we were raising children. But okay, maybe because I work in the same school where they were attending. But even at that, I felt like even if I wasn't working in that school, I know their closing time. I will be there so that whatever taxi or car they are entering, we're entering together and we're coming home together. And in the morning, I'm following them. You know, I have a boy now that is 12, and every morning when he's ready to go to school, I take him to the bus station. And a few people around my area say, your boy is a big boy. Now, why are you always following him? Are you thinking that somebody will steal him? I say, people don't understand. I said, as we are going from my house to the junction where he takes the bus, we discuss. Sometimes we even sit at the junction waiting for the bus. We talk about a lot of things. That's when he will say, Mommy, I have something to say. I say it. Then we talk. You know, so for me, it's bonding. You know, when he was still in primary school, I wasn't working in his school, but I follow him to school like every morning. I know his school is not far from the house, so he has to be in school by 7. So by 6:30, we start walking to school. And I come back. Sometimes I take my bath as he's taking his bath, so we walk together. So when I just come by, is to pick my bag and then go to work. So it's like where people talked to me that time. See school, see your house. This your child. Why are you always following him about? I say, people don't understand. I know what I am doing. You know, so just engage your children. Create time. Go with them. Come back with them. Be there, especially the uncles, the fathers. Please find time. Daddies, please find time. Follow these children. Walk with them to school. Walk with them back from school. Go to pick them. I know you are very busy, but once in a while, call your wife and say, there's phone now. Call your wife and say, I'm picking the children today. You stay back. You know, so that you two bond with these children. You know, I heard a funny story of a man who was taking his children to school in the morning, and along the way, he was insulting almost everybody that was crossing his path in the car. This one, he will insult them. Look at their head. Look at this. And then in the afternoon, the wife came to pick the children. And so when they were going, the children were asking, it's like all the foolish people and the useless people are not on the road in this afternoon. So the woman was like, what are we saying in the morning when we were coming? There were so many foolish people because daddy was just going, you're a fool. You're an idiot. So, you know, things like that helps you to bond. So work with your children. Don't tell me you don't have a car, walk with them. I see some fathers around my area, they carry these children. They go to school with them. They go back and pick them. Even if it's just morning, you can do that. Let your wife do the one in the afternoon. I think it's good.
Okay. It's like they're telling us time is up. But I think we've talked about work, we've talked about family. Other things, we may take them one by one at other episodes. But at least, let's go home and think about what we have said, because I think we've said a lot. Even me, I have to go home and think about what has been said, and also be deliberate to review what we do from time to time. Make time to review how your work is going, how your life is going, your family is going, and see where you need to make adjustments. IB, last words.
If the world did not fold up when God rested, nothing is going to happen to your work if you take time to rest.
Work-life balance is achievable, but let's work towards it.
Okay, so it's doable. It's not far-fetched. Yes. Yes. So viewers, we've heard, and we need to work well. We need to take care of ourselves to be able to do the work that God has placed in our hands. And one other, I think, very important issue that was raised here is the issue of purpose. We need to understand what our purpose is. Maybe some other time too, we will take time to discuss purpose. Yes. You need to know what your purpose is. You need to know it. So pray about it. Ask God. If you have not known, start praying now and say, keep knocking at the gates of heaven. Say, God, answer me. I want to know my purpose. Please don't expect there's always something very big and out of the ordinary. It's not everybody that is apostle. Before we are going there looking for big things, just listen. He's going to tell you what he has called you to do, so that you plan accordingly. Thank you so much for not touching that dial. And any comments you still have to make to us, please post on our Facebook page. We will be very happy to hear from you. So looking forward to seeing you again next week, and hoping that as we see ourselves again, work-life balance would have begun to be achieved in our lives. God bless us all as we go forth, living the life that God has called us to live. Thank you, IB. Thank you, Auntie Tess. God
Glad
bless
to
you.
be here.
Yeah. Bye.